Good morning, everyone. It is now 11 o'clock Melbourne time, so we'll be starting this webinar. I would like to welcome everyone for joining us today in today's webinar, Automate Data Entry with BGL SmartDocs. My name is Andre, and I'm a part of the training and documentation team at BGL. Accompanying me today is Daniel. This webinar is one of the training team's New Year's resolutions. We're providing a series of best practice custom webinars across this year. So keep an eye out for future webinars, as there'll be more of these webinars coming. Our focus today is looking into the functionalities of SmartDocs and how these features can benefit you when using Simple Fund 360 and Simple Invest 360. It must be stated that whilst we'll be displaying the SmartDoc features in Simple Fund 360, these features will also exist in Simple Invest 360. So before we get started, we'll cover over some housekeeping. Everyone here is invited as a participant and as such is muted. If you have any questions about the material raised today, please use the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen to ask a question, and my colleagues from the training team will do their best to answer your questions. Today's webinar is being recorded, and the recording of this webinar will be sent in a follow-up email to all registered to this webinar. The follow-up email will also include slides from the presentation. This webinar will also be available on BGL's YouTube channel at a later date. So what will we cover today? So I'll be going through uploading documents, as well as analyzing documents with AI. Following that is automating data entry. And that will be my portion of the webinar. And then we'll be changing presenters. And Daniel will go through and talk about SmartDoc functions, SmartDoc models, the future of SmartDocs in Simple Fund 360 and Simple Invest, as well as having a quick look at our standalone product, SmartDocs 360. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to explain the foundations of SmartDocs. And then once we've laid down those foundations, Daniel's going to come in and he's going to build upon those foundations. So uploading documents. So what we'll be doing, we'll be mainly uploading the documents as well as having a look at the SmartDocs email. There is also another method of uploading documents into Simple Fund and Simple Invest, and that's the BGL Engage app. Whilst we won't be looking at the BGL Engage app today, it works by downloading an app and then taking photos of documents and uploading it to your fund. Much like Simple Fund, as long as you've assigned the fund to this person, they'll be allowed to send documents directly to that fund. So what we're going to do now is go into the software and manually upload some documents. Okay. So what you're currently seeing is a custom fund that I've just created for this webinar. So this is quite blank. We do have a member, and that member name is Peter. And this person does relate to some of the transactions that we are about to code with SmartDocs. So today, what we'll be focusing primarily on is in accounting, is smart matching. So again, that's from accounting and going to smart matching. Okay, so I've created two bank accounts beforehand, and this is going to be quite important. You'll see so later. So this is where a lot of the AI will be taking place. You can see that next to smart matching, it does have a robot's head on it. So that really signifies where the AI, that this screen does integrate with our AI technology. And we're going to try to stay away as much as possible from the transaction list, because the transaction list does represent manual data that you have to manually put in. So we're trying to automate this process. So we're going to try to keep it as much as possible in smart matching. The other screen, what we're going to be working in today is from reports, it's documents. So again, we're going from reports and going to documents. And this is where all the documents for this fund is specifically housed. So what we need do first is we're going to upload a document. So what we're going to first do is browse our files, and I've created a few documents for today. And the first one, what we're going to do is the Macquarie bank statement. So we're just going to upload this one first. We're going to upload it here. So you can see it is currently being uploaded. What's going to happen is that soon there will be a T icon. So what's happening? We first need to go to a bank statement, press apply, and reanalyze. All right, so we're going to escape from this screen. So as this is a training environment and we've uploaded this document a few times, what normally would happen is that this would automatically start to AI analyze. But again, as it is a training environment, these things can happen. So what currently is happening is that we do have a T icon, as you can see. That means that the AI is currently analyzing this document as we speak. So SmartDocs is looking through the PDF and extracting as much information as possible. So now that it has been completed, what we can see is that the PDF icon has changed. It's gone purple, and it also has an SD. So it means that data has been extracted. So now that when we go in, you can see that SmartDocs has successfully extracted data as much as possible. So whilst Daniel will speak more about the models later on, we can talk about just briefly about the tables here. So what we can do, so in normal cases where you are trying to go through this document, and we usually wouldn't have enough time to look for, let's just say, the account number BSB. What this table also does, if you select a BSB, it will automatically highlight the figure on the source document. So if I go to account number, you can see it goes straight to the account number. And that is the same for the rest of it. So we have the opening balance and closing balance. We also have options to filter the results. So we can go and look for a certain date, perhaps, or a value. Otherwise, we can also customize the density. So we can go to compact as well as make it more comfortable, depending on what our preference is. Another option is to export as a CSV file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to scroll up, and I'm going to first, from here, select a bank. So you can see this is where setting up the banks previously is a lot beneficial to us at this point. So all I have to do is select Macquarie and go to Fast Bank Entry. So now that we're doing that, it automatically takes us to the screen that we once were before. So that's the smart matching screen from accounting. So you can see now that the system has uploaded it straightly to the smart matching screen. And so now that we've already uploaded the document, we don't have to upload another copy of the document to the smart matching screen. And the system automatically extracts all the transactions from this bank statement. So we can also click on the description to show where it is on the PDF, similar to what we were just doing before. And again, what if it is debits and credits for some reason are swapped, all we need to do, is press this button here. So what I'm going to do now is put in the open balance, as it says there is an open balance here. And that's $62,016.10. So I'm going to press create. Okay, so now it just brings us to the table here for smart matching. So what's happened here is that from the transaction itself, the system extracts the data and predicts what account code it should be going to. So for example, there was a transaction on that bank statement called the transfer ATO installment. So Simple Fund 360 has analyzed it and predicts that it should be coded against the 85,000 income tax payable refundable. And it does have a confidence value of 81.49%. And it should be noted that the more that you do these, the more that you handle and process transactions in this manner, the more that the confidence bar for SmartDocs will increase. So what we're going to do is press review. Actually, sorry, what we're going to do is find another confidence matter and press match. So that was just a contribution. So when we go back to the transaction list, just as a confirmation, we do see that it has automatically been matched through here. Okay, so the other option of uploading documents into Simple Fund 360 was the SmartDocs email. And that's located on the fund, and it is the SmartDocs email here. So what we'll be doing is I'll be sending an email. So what I need to do is copy this email address, copy to clipboard. I do have one here. So subject, now this is a best practice tip. So when you use your subject, what we want to do, if we're doing it for one financial year, we're going to do FY 2023. So now that when we upload the documents to this fund, the system will see the subject as financial year 2023 and will automatically make the documents that we're about to send be categorized as in the 2023 financial year. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach files. We're going to select them all. We're going to select them all. Wait for it to appear. What I might do as well is I'm just going to remove the Macquarie bank statement just so that we don't double up. And now we will just press send. So what will occur after we send this email is that we should receive a confirmation email from Simple Fund 360. Now, this confirmation email may take a minute or two to appear, but it will appear. So as such, I have uploaded these documents to a previous fund. So all we need to do is go to fund and just have a look at this document, that email confirmation that we received previously. So you can see that what will happen, actually we have just received this one again. So we'll go to the newer one. The documents have been received and it tells us the file name and it will provide a file ID. Now, hypothetically, if one of the documents that we sent was not supported by SmartDocs, it will say so in this email here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back into Simple Fund 360. We're going to go to reports, go to document screen. And this is the rest of it. So we've sent all of the documents to this fund, and Simple SmartDocs has analyzed all of these documents, as you can see, because all of them now have that purple SD PDF icon on the left-hand side. So you can see so here. Now, what we're going to do, first of all, is we're going to do the same thing what we did with Macquarie Bank to the Rabo bank term deposit statement. Now, this is an important one. So, because sometimes if your fund does have a term deposit, you might find that term deposits aren't always supported by bank feeds. So this is an easier alternative to do so. So what we can do is go to tab, go to RoboBank and press Fast Bank Data Entry. Again, we can just press create as we are happy. Another option of what we can do once the documents have been uploaded is we can create a job. So what I'll do is so what we're going to do is from the RoboBank term deposit, is go to the far right hand side, click the three buttons, and we can create a job. So what's going to happen now is SmartDocs is analyzing this document that we just uploaded and to see of what jobs can be created based on the information. So you can see now that SmartDocs has analyzed it and it has provided us suggestions of jobs that we can do. So first of all, what we can do is let's just say we don't like that last one, file statement for end of year tax return preparation, we can remove it by selecting this button here. Otherwise, what we can also do is create. So we create another task. So we're just going to say check. We can say check in with the bank. And we can add it. So again, this is a relatively new function in Simple Fund 360. It's been out for, I would say, 6 months. So we can put it as a workflow. I can assign it to myself. And this will ensure, will give me a job process of an internal workflow within Simple Fund 360 of tasks I need to follow. So all I need to do from now is just press create. And it's been a success, and I can view this job at a later stage. But for now, we'll press OK. So now that we've uploaded all the relevant documents, what we can also do is go back into the accounting, smart matching. And I'm going to go to the Macquarie. So we've uploaded documents, all the rest of the documents. You can see that the software has analyzed every document, and you can see that perhaps that the OMT is relevant to this transaction here. So we've uploaded a file for OMT for CBA shares, and in the smart matching, you can see that when we click on it, may give it a minute. There we go. You can see that it analyzes it so that you can ensure that the more details or the parcel details, are correct. And we can just do that by clicking unit price and consideration as well. And you can see that value appears when we click it. Now we're going to remove from that screen. What we're going to do now is return back to the compliance screen. The reports and document screen. Because I just want to show you another tidbit as well. So if I go to the CBA dividend, click here. So maybe it wasn't that. So what we can do is, for example, it's not showing at the moment. Perhaps it just needs some more time to upload, but we have uploaded this transaction. And whilst we're in here, we can actually upload this transaction to the relevant transaction on the transaction list, so that therefore you can attach this document to the transaction. And I'm sure that Daniel might go through this a bit more thoroughly at a later stage, but this is just a brief idea. Okay. Now, the other benefit of uploading all of our documents to here is that when we start to do the work paper cycle, it does benefit us. It does benefit the user a lot, and it does streamline the process. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this display icon, the suggest category on. So once we do that, so what's just happened is that SmartDocs again has analyzed it, and when we generate work papers, so another top tip is only generate work papers when all the documents have been uploaded. And I'll show you why in a moment. But what we're going to do is we're going to handle all of these documents. So you can see that the SmartDocs has analyzed this document and believe that it should go to the 60400. For those that don't know, that is our bank account number. And so when we generate our work papers, this will automatically appear in the bank account. So what we're going to do is press confirm. Press confirm. Press confirm. And press confirm. Confirm. And so now these ones are going to 2300, so that is our distributions folder. So what we're just doing is pressing confirm for these ones. Now, a question may be asked of, hello, I've uploaded these documents using the methods I've shown today, but they're not appearing in the correct financial year. And we can always change it as well. But as you can see from what we did before of putting that subject head as 23 financial year, now all of the documents are appearing in the 23 financial year. But we can change it if they are wrong as well. So what we can also do is now go to our categorized, and you can also see our uncategorized ones. So therefore, if the ones that didn't get picked up, all we would need to do is put these into the relevant folders. So now that brings us to the work paper step. Now, all we would need to do from the work papers, so now they haven't been generated, the next step is to generate. So again, we don't want to press this button until all of the documents have been uploaded and put it into its relevant files. So obviously we don't have enough time to do it all of the ones that haven't been categorized today, and for an example, let's pretend that we have. And now when we go to our work papers and we generate our work papers, we're going to select a reviewer as Anthony Costa, and we're going to generate. We're just going to give it a moment. System will also give us a warning because we haven't generated our create entries. But again, this is just showing off what the system can do. So what we're going to do is go to our bank, our 60400, and there we go. There is our bank statements that we've uploaded, and they appear. So we no longer would have to manually upload a document to each work paper. So let's just say if we want to go to the 23800 perhaps, or 242, now we no longer have to open it and find those PDFs and upload it and into that folder. We can just do it straight from the document screen. Okay, so that brings us to the end of my section of the presentation. Daniel, are you there?
Hello, Andre. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Wonderful. So I'm just going to take over right now. Hopefully this will work just fine. There we go. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Wonderful. That is great. I am just going to move my Zoom chat out of the way so that is available as well. But yeah, thank you very much, Andre, for the start of the webinar. Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel, and I'll be running you through the last half of the webinar today. Just to introduce myself, I am a member of the training and documentation team here at BGL. And for the last half of the session, we're going to be running through SmartDocs functions. I can see right now that we do have a number of questions coming through in the Q&A, and please do keep those coming. We'll get to as many as possible. However, if we don't get to your question, please know that we do have our support options as well as ways to contact us here at BGL. So if your question doesn't get answered, we can always attend to that at a later time. And we do appreciate your patience very much with that. So now that we know the best practices for getting documents into the fund, the question then becomes, what can you do with these documents? And I see a lot of questions being like, can we do dividend statements, rental statements? Does this apply to any banks, and what benefits you can get out of that? And that's the idea I'm trying to get across in the last half of this webinar. So while Simple Fund 360 does include typical functions such as renaming, tagging, and commenting on documents, there are also various models, what we call models, available used to extract data needed from documents. To explain these models further, essentially they are templates that the SmartDocs AI uses to determine what data to extract from documents. Currently, 3 of the most popular ones are bank statements, rental statements, and distribution or dividend models, which also includes annual tax statements there. So we'll take the most commonly used documents, create frameworks from them, and then allow you to extract data, allowing you to essentially automate the process even further within Simple Fund 360. So moving on, we'll start off with the what I like to call SmartDocs utility. So it's all the different little functions that you can complete with the documents in your fund. And I'm going to jump over to the software and we'll get started. We're in the document screen right now. I have set up a fund just with a couple of different transactions that will allow me to demonstrate these models as well as the different aspects of the document screen. Just to quickly show you, I will open up the transaction list here. And you can see we have a couple of transactions. The first one represents a transaction that might come in from a bank feed because it's matched to the bank data clearing account there. And SmartDocs has the ability to combine, so you can upload documents, have transactions coming through a bank feed, and you can match them together, essentially attaching the document to the transaction. The second transaction here is a matched transaction. So it's gone through the automation process, coming in through bank feeds, or maybe entered in the smart matching screen, and you've chose to match that. And this one's going to be used to demonstrate how you can upload transactions, and then SmartDocs will automatically recognize them and attach it to a transaction. So we'll go back to the document screen and upload our first 2 documents. We'll select upload. And once again, you can go through any different method to upload these documents, whether it's via the email or whether it's uploading from this screen. Both of them work the exact same. We're going to start with our first 2 documents, which is going to be an accounting fee and a contract note. We'll select open, making sure to select the financial year when uploading the document. We can always change this at a later date if required. And we'll select upload. So to explain these SmartDocs functions very quickly, the first one is renaming files. Very simple. You can click into any of these files you have uploaded. For instance, we'll click into this bank statement here, and you can select the pen icon in the top left and choose to rename the file. Very straightforward. It does need to be between 5 and 100 characters though. So we'll rename this test 1. Next one is adding tags. Tags allows you to filter the document screen to certain documents that might be categorized together. To do this, you can do this while selecting a document in the top right here, and we do have a number of tags that are already created. You can also create your tags back on the main screen by selecting this settings option and then going to tags and create. But the idea then is that you can select all that is required or input the tags. If you did want to do multiple tags at the same time, you can select all 3, select the bulk update option, and then you can choose to add whatever's necessary. So let's say all of these need to be brought through to the working papers. We can tag them all as working papers. And once the system is given a bit of time to work, that will attach all 3. There we go. So those are all tagged as working papers. Then you can come back at a later time, filter by working paper tag, and see all those documents available to you there. The next thing we're having a look at is comments. Comments very simply are underneath the action. and you can select that and simply add a comment in as necessary. So if you wanted to leave a comment for another user in the software, you can do so there on the right side. Next one is to do with attaching documents. So we do have the ability to manually attach documents to a transaction that exists, and we do have the function that is automatically attaching documents. For manually attaching documents, the first thing you'll need to do is click into any of the documents that are available. You do have the model framework showing. We're just going to scroll down on the right side, and down the bottom of each of these sections will be a transaction box. This will show you suggested transactions. So these are transactions that SimpleFun 360 or SmartDocs is suggesting should be related to this file. So this one is selecting that transaction, that bank feed transaction we had before, 3rd of the 3rd, 2021. And if we jump back to the transaction list screen, you can see this transaction up the top. So we'll scout through any unmatched transactions and look to prompt you to attach that transaction to it if needed. If we were to click attach here, that transaction will be attached, which is great. For auto attaching, that is actually done when, very similarly, the dates match, the amounts match, and the description matches something related to the document that is uploaded. How to view something if it's auto-attached is this purple arrow icon here. This will say that SmartDocs has auto-linked to transaction. If you wanted to review that, you can click this icon here, and that will open that automatically linked transaction. And you can do so for existing linked transactions as well. So that is a little icon showing that is auto-linked. The question that becomes, after we have linked this transaction, how do we go about completing it? Well, you go to the Smart Matching screen. You'd see this transaction here. It already has that transactions linked, and that particular file has been analyzed by SmartDocs. That's why the SD icon is showing there. Clicking into it, that means you can view that linked transaction that is recognized there. So linking transactions means that when you go to the matching process, all the information is presented in front of you, and you're able to make a more accurate posting to a particular account when you get here. So we'll click match, and that one's all done. The final things to mention about SmartDocs functions is, apart from the financial year that you can adjust on the right here, so we can select the financial year as necessary. The left side is the folder allocation. So as you can see, this transaction, when it has been auto-attached, has recognized that it is a 77600 account-related transaction, specifically A2M. And this does happen with automatically matching. If it doesn't automatically happen, what you can simply do is take this file and you can drag it across to the necessary folder to categorize that as needed. So for instance, this bank statement one, we can drag it to bank and then put it into the correct bank if needed. If you do need to go back to the home page for the document screen, just select Entity Folder in the top left. That will bring you back. So that's all the SmartDocs functions that we do have for that one today. And we'll jump back to the PowerPoint. The next thing to explain is the SmartDocs models. And we did have a bit of an interactive segment, if you'd indulge me in that one there, because I am curious about how much information or knowledge everyone here, everyone watching has with the SmartDocs models. They're not the newest addition to SmartDocs 360, SimpleFun 360. However, they are a fairly new concept, and we're looking to expand of them in the future. So if you'd be willing to scan the QR code on screen or head to the Menti login page that we have here, and I'm going to see about putting a link in the Zoom chat as well. Let's see if I can get that one added here as well. There we go. So Zoom chat is linked there. If you could click on that, it's just going to be 2 short questions, one at the start right here and then one at the end, and we'll run through the rest of the progress. So the first question I did have for you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much experience do you have with SmartDocs models? Please do be completely honest. If you deal with these on a regular basis and you have actually gone through and seen all of the current 8 different models that are available, or if you haven't heard of models before, that's completely fine. As expected, I can see that there is a significant amount of people who don't have too much experience, which hopefully I'll be able to change by the end of the session today. But it is something that can be beneficial to you if the requirements are right within the software. So thank you very much for that. We'll jump back to the presentation and I'll run through the 3 different models we have. So the first one is bank statements. Very straightforward. Everyone will require bank statements, and there are many different ways of getting them imported into Simple Fund 360. There is the bank feeds that was previously mentioned, which is the most automated option. However, you can upload bank statements in a PDF or JPEG file format. This does extract the bank details, balances, and transaction data, and it does allow you to easily export this data into the smart matching screen so that you can create transactions. So I'll run you through how to do that right now. Here we go. We are on the document screen. I'm going to select upload, and I'm going to select a different bank statement we can have a look at. We do have the Macquarie one here. I might actually select a different one, potentially. Yeah, we'll select the same one, just so it's similar. And you have some reference point to go off, actually. So we're going to upload this document. We need to give it a bit of time to recognize what model that is, so we'll leave it for the time being. But to quickly run through the general process, you can upload a bank statement, click into it, then you can select to transfer it to the smart matching screen and continue the transaction process. Let's refresh, and hopefully that has been analyzed for us. It might complete it in a little bit. We'll click in and see how we go. In terms of this, it should typically take between 10 seconds to 30 seconds. There is potential for it to take longer, especially with more people attempting to use the model functions. But it's something we'll look to continue to develop in the future. This one is giving me a bit of trouble, but hopefully that uploads in just a moment. There we go. So that's been analyzed because it's now a purple SD icon on the left side. And if we click in, it has loaded the bank statement model for us. As you can see on the right side, it's extracted a number of different pieces of data, such as the opening balance. And if you click it on the right side, it does select it on the left side in the actual document. So you can see where the figures are coming from. Additionally, with these credit figures, the transactions and the descriptions as well, you can see exactly where those are showing. Scrolling down, you have some details that you can fit in, but the option to make these into transactions is kept up the top and is readily available. All you need to do is up the top, select this box here and select the bank, or you can use LRBA accounts that is related to it. And then you can select fast bank entry. All that does is bring you back to the smart matching screen, which then will allow you to create these transactions. It's a very similar process to uploading bank statements in the smart matching screen, but it does allow you to confirm the details and then choose to create transactions if needed. So we can choose create if needed here, and that will make all of our transactions as we've done before. So that's the bank statement model. Essentially, what that allows us to do here at BGL is adapt this bank statement model so it supports all bank statements. The more bank statements, the data that we have, if there's ones that are unsupported, we can feed it into the SmartDocs AI, it can analyze it, and then it can analyze and manage many of those documents in the future. So that is bank statements. The next one we're going into is rental statements. So rental statements are supported in monthly or yearly rental summaries, as well as rental statements with multiple properties. The idea behind these models is that it extracts the income and expense transaction data and then will allow you to compare it with transactions that have already been entered into the fund. So you have income and expenses, you might have some rental income, you might have some property fees, different things that have been posted over the financial year. Then uploading this rental statement and using the model will allow you to reconcile these figures all together. So jumping back into Simplify 360, go to upload us a rental statement. And while I'm at it, just to save time, I might upload the other two files we have for the dividend statements, the tax statements here, just so they're analyzed ahead of time. So as I mentioned, rental statements do require existing transactions as they are more of a reconciliation model. So I'll go over to the transaction list and show you the existing transaction we have and what that represents. The transaction is this one here, the 1st of the 1st, 2022, and it has a number of different transactions. We do have property income being recorded, a total of 20,000. We have some repairs and maintenance, some advertising, and some agent management fees. So these are all values that might be posted in different transactions. They might come through in a bank feed and they're matched, but essentially they have been recorded against the property. Jump back to the document screen, and as you can see, our documents have been analyzed, which is great. And we'll click into the rental financial summary. So on the left side, you can see the document, very similar to the other models. And on the right side, we have the option to have a look at and compare the statement to our account figures in SimpleFund 360. The important thing to note is to make sure to select the property, the correct property up the top, as that is where it will then try to locate the ledger amounts, because it will look to the accounts that are associated, that are linked to this particular property here. So scrolling down, we can see that we have a number of columns here. We have the ledger amount in this third column. We have the statement amount, and that statement amount relates once again to the figures that show in the document on the left. And then we have adjustment column. The purpose of this model is to then bring the figures in SimpleFund 360 to match this rental summary. And to do that, we'll need to post one final adjustment transaction. To do this, we're going to select Add Row, and we're going to select another line to post it to. This can be a variety of different things. We can't advise what the correct option is for you, but typically what I've found is you might want to post it to a new bank account to essentially record the fact that this income or these expenses have already come out of the bank. They just haven't been recorded yet. Another option is to post it to sundry debtors or sundry creditors, stating that this amount has not come out of the bank yet, but you are looking to either receive or to pay this amount in the future. In this particular case, we'll select sundry debtors. And then down the bottom, we need to input the adjustment amount. And because it shows 2430 down the bottom, we just need to net that to 0. So 2430 means that the adjustment is 0. So this final transaction will be posted to sundry debtors, and the adjustments will then be taken into account to match this rental summary. It says all set, ready to post adjustments. We'll click that button, and then we can click to view that transaction. So all it's done, it is posted to record the additional 2,600 income that hasn't been recorded yet, as well as $170 worth of advertising that hasn't been recorded, and has simply posted that against sundry debtors at the end of the financial year selected. Jumping back into the transaction list screen, we can see we have this transaction here, and it has gone through the process of attaching that transaction, the document to this transaction as well. Back to the document screen once again. And there we go. We do have that little arrow icon there next to it where you can see which transaction it's linked to. We'll jump back to the PowerPoint now for our final model we're running through, which is related to dividends and distributions. Now, dividends and distributions, this model is related to extracting the payment date and security code data and then analyzing that so it can be posted correctly. Specifically, its main uses currently in SimpleFund 360 is related to the annual tax statements. It allows you to upload these documents and then actually use them in the distribution tax automation screen, which was previously essentially funded by the BGL distribution statements, which was the distribution statements, the tax statements that we here at BGL analyzed and then uploaded to the system so they could be used as system tax data, all the documents that were sent through to us, which then we could go through the same process. So this will allow you to upload your annual tax statements and then will allow you to extract the data directly from your uploaded tax statements that are uploaded. So we'll jump back to the software and I'll run you through how that works. Firstly, we're going to have a look at a dividend statement, I believe, on its own. So this is the AFI payment advice. If we click into this one here, you can see it's recognized the dividend or distribution model. And scrolling down, you can see that we have a number of these values filled out. One thing I did want to mention is that the SmartDocs model does also take into account LIC deductions. So if you did want to extract that data, this model is available to do so. Then when it comes to transactions, we typically expect a distribution or dividend transaction to be recorded. Then you can look to attach this transaction to that this file, to that transaction. Essentially meaning that you have a paper trail for all of your dividends and distributions in the fund. So that's the main purpose of the dividend and distribution model here. What I'll need to do now is just set up the fund in the 2023 financial year, and we'll run through the annual tax statement. So the annual tax statement we have uploaded is this one here, NDQ tax statement, which has been analyzed by the annual tax statement model, as you can see. But what we'll need to do to manage this one is head to compliance and select distribution tax automation. So on this screen, we do have NDQ added as a security and has a payment received of $70.59 in this year. To connect any annual tax statements that have been uploaded to any of these securities, select the SD review button at the top of the screen. So it's going to review any of the uploaded documents. Then from here, you can allocate codes to the necessary documents. So if you had 10 different annual tax statements that were coming through, you can upload all of them, head to this screen, and select the code for each of them, which will then attach to each of those securities. Once you click Save, we then do have the SD icon next to it, which means we have SmartDocs tax data, and we have the option to select that as an action to extract that tax data from the PDF. You can also select it and select Extract from PDF at the top. Both of them complete the same process. So we'll select this one here. And from there, it's a very similar idea. We have the file on the left side. We have the tax data on the right side, which you can click through, and you can see where that is currently located by selecting that arrow. So for this annual tax statement one specifically, because it is a long document, you will need to ensure to click the arrow so that the document goes to the point where it's recording that figure. You can zoom in on this one here as well, if needed. So you can zoom in to, let's say, 200%. And then as we click the arrow, it will jump around and show us the position of that figure. Once you're happy with those amounts that have been entered there, you can simply generate and mark as reviewed. And that will have created a transaction that includes all those tax components. So that is the final model we're running through today. If I actually just jump out, I can show you the other models that currently do exist. If we click Change Model up here, you can choose to, once again, auto-categorize it if you're changing models. So you can choose to analyze the document again, or you can choose one of the existing 8 models that we have available. And that does bring us into the next part of the presentation, which is what is the future for SmartDocs and Simple Fund 360? Because it's great that we're adding all these models that are available to be used, but where's the longevity? Where's the end goal with these models? Ultimately, our goal is to look to add add different documents to the SmartDocs AI library, so that does support all document types that could be necessary for people using Simple Fund 360. And in addition to that is to add new document models so that it can be supported across all of BGL's products. So as mentioned at the very beginning, SmartDocs is currently available in Simple Fund 360 and Simple Invest 360. However, it does have potential uses in CAS 360, our sister product as well, to do with corporate compliance, as well as it does have potential to be used elsewhere. So these are features that we're looking to explore and to see where SmartDocs is able to go. That brings us on to the final note of today's webinar, which is SmartDocs 360. SmartDocs 360 itself is a standalone product. So it's a standalone solution built to solve the problem of carrying paper receipts and invoices and having to manually enter all of this data. The goal here is hopefully for users to easily be able to upload documents and extract data without the requirement of manually entering, uploading the document, typing in the number that's required into whichever type of software that you're using. Currently, its main benefits are for accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners, as it does mention here. However, there is significant potential to grow this to many different markets, not just the financial market. And I'll show you a quick demonstration about what that looks like in the software itself. For this, I'll just need to switch my firm over to the one I have available here. So just please give me a moment there. SmartDocs Production General, and we'll log in. So this is a separate software that is available. It is very new, that has been released, so we're looking to add additional features here and build on the current foundation we have. But one thing I'll specifically be talking about is the Xero integration here, which is one of the biggest selling points at the moment. So in SmartDocs 360, you would be asked to create a new entity, very similar to how you're asked to create a new fund in Simple Fund 360. Then you can click into that and manage the documents related to the entity. It's a very similar process. You can choose to upload documents here as well. That will then be brought onto the screen. From there, those documents can be analyzed and the data can be sent out to any of the connected applications, or you can also export a CSV file that could potentially work for your own purposes. For instance, this bank statement here, if we were to select this one, it will have the right side, once again, analyzing where these figures are coming from. And then you can choose to export this to a CSV as well. We have a couple of options depending on what you're using. If you are using this for Xero purposes specifically, you can select that and then it will export in a suitable format. Or we do have just the basic CSV formats as well. Additionally to this, as I mentioned, we do have some connections. So in the Connections tab, you have a very easy option to select Xero, which then will prompt you to log into Xero and connect that in your Xero account there. Once that's been completed, after uploading documents, such as, for instance, this accounting fee here, you can select that, review the details. You will need to select a supplier, and this supplier is actually created in your Xero account, which is why I can't select a supplier here. And then you can select Publish to Xero, which will push the details of this document to Xero in a transaction format. And if we scroll down, this is typically what the transaction would display here. So this transaction would flow through. It would then open a pop-up to Xero that you can use then to manage that particular document. As I mentioned, this is it's in its infancy stages. SmartDocs is something that's very exciting for us, but it is still very new. And we're hoping to make improvements and develop more connections in the future so it can be more usable for more people. On that note, that does bring us to the end of the webinar. I would like to bring us back to the interactive, the Menti webpage, if you did have that still open, because I am curious about what topics you'd like to see covered in future webinars. What we are doing with these webinars is every 2 months, we're running a webinar based on commonly requested topics, essentially to fill the gaps of information in BGL clients. So if you had any topics that you would like to see covered, feel free to put that through on the Menti tab there. We do have that link in the Zoom chat if you wanted to add that. But I will actually just collate all this data here, and I'll send that through to the team, and we'll look to create future webinars on that. We do have a couple of things here. So data feed management for managed funds, media pensions, SmartDocs 360, order documents. They're all great ideas, and we'll try to get to as many of these in the near future as we can. So I'll keep an eye on this. Please do keep sending them through if you're passionate about something, and we'll see about adding those in the future. In the meantime, though, I would like to just announce that Masterclass is finishing up. There are still some spots available in the Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne Masterclasses. That is run by our product leaders. So that is Jeevan for Simple Fund 360, Warren for CAS 360, as well as we have Andrew Pascoe for Simple Invest 360. It'll provide you with the most in-depth knowledge to our software, as they are the head of their products. So if you are interested in that, please feel free to join one of the sessions in a city near you. But that does bring us to the end of the webinar today. I'd like to thank everyone for attending. As mentioned, we will be sending out a follow-up email with these slides available, as well as a recording of the webinar as well. We do have some questions that hopefully we'll be able to get through all of them before the end of the time today. But if you were leaving us, maybe you might have some questions in the future, feel free to reach out to us either via a support call within Simple Fund 360, or you can reach out to us via some of the social link options that are shown here as well. We'd love to hear your feedback on SmartDocs. I know they love to hear about what people are excited for or what people want to improve with SmartDocs. So we'll make sure to pass on all those comments as much as we can. But if you're leaving us today, I'd like to say thank you very much for your time. Hope you learned something new about SmartDocs, and hope you have a great rest of your week.